Formula One fans, welcome to Formula Pun Racer. Today is January 12th, 2023. Today I am going to give you the list of drivers who will be driving for which F1 racing team for the 2023 season. But before I begin with that, there are two subjects I have to cover. The first is explaining why I didn't make a video review of the season finale in Abu Dhabi for 2022. One, basically because I was feeling sick for a while, bronchitis, and I was feeling out of it, as well as other things that kept me busy, so I couldn't get on with it. And second, the race was quite uneventful, so it was hardly worth making a proper video review on, because the champion of 2022 had already claimed the crown. Max Verstappen of Red Bull, well, the Flying Dutchman started on pole and ran away with the race, winning another one to his tally. Charles Leclerc of Ferrari finished second, which was vital to make sure that the Monegasque driver would also finish second in the points, just barely holding off Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, who finished third in both the race and the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari also finishes second in the Constructors' title ahead of Mercedes. And for the four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel in his final race before retiring, he finished 10th in the Aston Martin, scoring just only 1 point. And how ironic, because in Sebastian Vettel's first race in 2007 in F1, with Sauber BMW, he scored only 1 point. But still, a lot of potential was shown with the German, winning 4 F1 season championships in a row with Red Bull, before jumping to Ferrari, winning a few races, and his last 2 F1 racing seasons driven for Aston Martin. So, Danke, Seb, for the memories that you gave us in Formula One. Congratulations on all the success you've accomplished. We will miss you, Sebastian Vettel. Enjoy retirement and go help the economy or the environment in any way that you can. Auf Wiedersehen, Seb Vettel. We'll miss you. On a more sadder note is that back on December 4th, former F1 driver Patrick Tambay of France sadly passed away at the age of 73 to Parkinson's disease. His son is also a racer too. So I like to say to the Tambay family, I am terribly, terribly sorry for your loss. And we will pause for a moment of silence in memory of Patrick Tambay. Au revoir, Patrick Tambay. Tu vas nous manquer. Patrick Tambay began his Formula One's career in the second half of the 1977 season, part-time with the Theodore Racing Team. By 1978, his first full year in F1 began with McLaren as a teammate to 1976 champion James Hunt of Great Britain. Unfortunately, success in F1 would not be met much for Patrick Tambay. He would only win 2 races in his F1 career. The first was the 1982 Hockenheimring race in Germany with Ferrari. And then his second and final win came in 1983 at San Marino, to the delight of Enzo Ferrari, and also to the delight of a lot of French F1 fans, as the entire podium was dominated by French drivers. It was Tambay on top, Frenchman Alain Prost driving for Renault finished second, and René Arnoux, Tambay's Ferrari teammate, finished third. So, magnifique, Monsieur Tambay, on making such a performance to the delight of Ferrari fans and to fans of France in San Marino. But I can also say one other thing. If anything else that he was renowned for is 2 races before winning in San Marino in 1983, he had a bit of a tangle with K.K. Rosberg at the hairpin turn at the 1983 Long Beach Grand Prix, and he wasn't hurt, but it was quite a memorable moment shown here.
Aí o Rosberg forçou, botou por dentro, vai fechando.
Major fender bender.
Definitely was quite the fender bender, Sonic. In fact, karma would come for K.K. Rosberg a few hundred yards later after the hairpin. he was already wheel-to-wheel with his Williams teammate Jacques Lafitte, only to be rear-ended from behind by Ligier driver Jean-Pierre Jarier. Sacre bleu, Rosberg out, having been bumped around by 3 different Frenchmen in the span of a few hundred yards at Long Beach. Who would have thought? In fact, that race was the last time Formula One would race at Long Beach because their sanction fee was just too expensive for the organizers, so from 1984 onwards, it's been IndyCar ever since. And how about that I showed Sonic the Hedgehog there, because this year marks the 30th anniversary of the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, for those who may remember that quite vividly, like me, I will admit it was a little corny and silly and cartoonish, I admit, but I still love it to this day. And even to this day, I'm very proud and honored to know that the same guy who played Steve Urkel in Family Matters, Jaleel White, was the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. Way to go, bro! Got a speed, kid! In fact, I like Jaleel White better for voicing Sonic the Hedgehog than I do for him playing Urkel. Did I say that? Yes, I did say that. Well, anyway, there you have it. For all you Jaleel White fans, I hope you're watching this too, Jaleel, and I hope you find that funny. But there's more to it than the fact that this year marking the 30th anniversary of the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. While I am a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and in fact I actually like that more than Sonic X, I know but that's just my personal opinion, maybe because that's what I grew up with. But what can I say? I definitely love the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, and Jim Carrey was an amazing cast as Dr. Robotnik. He should have gotten an Oscar for his performance. As a matter of fact, there's more to me mentioning it, because today marks the birthday of one of its cast members, Long John Baldry of Great Britain, who is also a R&B and blues singer from Great Britain. He was the voice of Dr. Robotnik, and I like to say, happy heavenly birthday, Long John Baldry. Let the heartaches begin, because it's unfortunate that sadly he passed away in 2005 from a chest infection. He was only in his 60s. Still, I hope you have a wonderful heavenly birthday, Long John Baldry. Loved you as the voice of Dr. Robotnik, and don't try to lay no boogie-woogie on the king of rock and roll, that's all I know.
Thank you. I'll have to give myself a promotion.
As a matter of fact, to bring the notion of the 30th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog full circle with my subject of who's going to be driving for which team in F1, that same year the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog premiered, the Williams F1 racing team brought in Alain Prost to replace Nigel Mansell, and former part-time driver DamonHill of Brabham as their new drivers for the 1993 season. In addition, their Williams FW15 Renault-powered car that you see here also is sponsored by Sega and Sonic the Hedgehog. Pretty neat, huh? Just in time to coincide with the same year the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog premiered. Definitely love the zero on this car. Alain Prost would take his 4th and final Formula One championship that year before retiring, and DamonHill would win his first 3 races in his career, starting at the Hungarian Grand Prix, followed by Spa and Monza later on. And 3 years later, we all know this second-generation racer would win the 1996 F1 champion, following in his dad's footsteps as the winner of Formula One racing. There's one thing that Damon was able to accomplish that his father never could, despite having won 14 races in his career, was win on home soil in Britain, although he won Monaco 5 times, which was something DamonHill was never able to accomplish here. Heck, like Graham, while he won the Indy 500 in his rookie year, 1966, is something Damon never tried at all. But anyway, that's it for my talks about Sonic the Hedgehog and the fact that today's Long John Baldry's birthday in heaven. Now to bring you up to speed on who's driving for which team, and we'll start, naturally, now that I showed you, with Team Williams. They will unveil a new sponsor on their cars on February 6th, and their driver lineup is quite an amazing one because last year's Canadian driver Nicholas Latifi is unfortunately out at Williams and has no ride for F1. There were talks that he might join the Chip Ganassi IndyCar team, but unfortunately talks fell through, so no-go for Canada there in terms of Nicholas Latifi. He will be replaced by the first American to race in Formula One since Alexander Rossi at Marussia, and that would be Logan Sargent of Formula 2 Racing, and his teammate will be Alexander Albon of Thailand. So I wish them luck, and I hope Williams can reclaim its former glory, considering they finished dead last in the Constructors' Championship last year. So they got some big shoes to fill, but where there's a Williams, there's a way. For the third year in a row, Japanese driver Yuki Tsunoda will maintain his seat at Scuderia AlphaTauri. His previous teammate, Pierre Gasly of France, is out and will be replaced by the Flying Dutchman, Nick de Vries of the Netherlands, who is the 2021 Formula E champion. Last year, he made his Formula One debut with Williams at Monza, finishing 9th. This is his first full season in Formula One. Can the Flying Dutchman give some electric flair to the team? A driver roster shakeup has recently occurred at Team Haas as well. Mick Schumacher of Germany, the son of the 7-time F1 champion Michael Schumacher, has become a Haas-spin. In other words, he's out at Haas and will now be a test driver or reserve driver for the Mercedes factory team alongside George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. And who's going to replace Mick at Haas, you ask? Well, it will be his fellow countryman, Nico Hulkenberg, and, well, for all you fans from Denmark who love F1, bring out the butter cookies because Kevin Magnussen will still maintain his spot at Haas, and so I'm sure we'll celebrate. Let's eat. Oops. The last two teams I'm going to mention are my favorites, so I'm taking Vanessa Williams' advice and saving the best for last. I'll tell you what teams they are when we get to it. At Alfa Romeo, the driver lineup is just the same as last year. Zhou Guanyu of China and Valtteri Bottas of Finland will be driving these Ferrari-powered units from the Hinwil headquartered team, which is basically Sauber, but it has the Alfa Romeo name in this case. At McLaren, well, aren't you surprised at what's happening there at Woking? Because while Britain's Lando Norris is maintaining his seat, last year's teammate he had, Australia's Daniel Ricciardo, has been hopped out like a kangaroo, and to be replaced by a fellow countryman. Formula 2 graduate Oscar Piastri has hopped in to be the new Joey in the kangaroo that McLaren is launching later next month. At Mercedes, the Silver Arrows team, it's an all-British lineup of Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, and George Russell, who took his maiden win last year at the Brazilian Grand Prix. And as I said, Germany's Mick Schumacher will be their reserve driver, so there's some German patriotism there for you. At Red Bull, it's still the same driver lineup as well. Netherlands' Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez of Mexico, also known as Checo. And Daniel Ricciardo has hopped, as I said, out of McLaren to become Red Bull's reserve driver. In fact, Daniel has had his share of victory with Red Bull, so he's very familiar with the team already. In fact, his second-to-last F1 win came with the Red Bull Racing team in 2018 at the Monaco Grand Prix. Granted, his latest career win has come at the 2021 Italian Grand Prix at Monza with McLaren. So, if things work out, who knows what this might mean for Daniel Ricciardo in the future. And as for the fact that I mentioned that Pierre Gasly was out at AlphaTauri, he has decided to join up with Esteban Ocon, his fellow countryman at Alpine Renault. Oh mon Dieu, an all-French driver lineup at the French-based team, which ironically, the Alpine Renault team's headquarters is in Enstone, England. But how's that for irony? And it's all because, in a way, Esteban Ocon's previous teammate, Spaniard Fernando Alonso, just didn't seem to get along very well with one another, so it was quite a frictional moment. But with an all-French driver lineup at Alpine Renault, who knows if Gasly and Ocon will get along together, but let's see if they can get away with a big baguette.
Listen. Oh, a symphony of crackle. Only great bread sound this way.
You may have noticed that just a few seconds ago my face looked all stubbly, right? But I decided to shave it off from my two favorite teams as we shake the dust and rust off these race cars to get going for an exciting year of car racing. As I said, the tension between Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso at Alpine was starting to get a little out of hand, to the point where, with Fernando Alonso basically getting kicked out of Alpine Renault, it's a good thing that the Aston Martin chairman, Lawrence Stroll, decided to come to Fernando's aid to give him a ride with a better paycheck too, to replace the now retired German driver Sebastian Vettel, who has won 4 championships with Red Bull. And, of course, we will miss Sebastian Vettel's glorious contribution to the sport, but with the 2-time world champion Fernando Alonso replacing him at Aston Martin, who knows what he can bring to the team? Hopefully a victory that Lawrence and his son Lance can stroll into victory with. So, it'll be great to see how well the green team goes, and once again, Lance, I'm sorry that you're the only Canadian in the entire racing grid, eh?
It stinks!
At long last, the team that everyone is waiting to hear about. The Scuderia Ferrari team, the Italian Stallion, who's going to be driving for them? Basically the same drivers as last year, the 2 Chucks that are gunning for over $1 million. That would be Charles Leclerc of Monaco and Carlos Sainz Jr. of Spain, the son of 2-time World Rally Champion Carlos Sainz Sr., who is presently, as we speak, racing in the Dakar Rally through the sand dunes of Saudi Arabia. I wish you luck, Carlos Sr., and I also wish you luck, Carlos Jr., in Formula 1. Let's see if you can giddy up and saddle up to a great victory for Ferrari. And with Mattia Binotto's team principal out and being replaced by former Alfa Romeo or Sauber team principal Frederic Vasseur, who knows if this might create a big shakeup in strategy and development and above all performance for the Italian Stallion, the Red Scarlet team. Can they do better than they did last year? Well, tune into these races to see how it pans out. And that is the driver lineup for the 2023 Formula One World Championship. Now, if you're wondering, is there anything exciting going on in the world of racing this weekend? As a matter of fact, there is. Since I mentioned Nick de Vries in Formula E earlier, the first Formula E round is taking place this weekend, on January 14th in Mexico City, the first round of the Formula E season. Let's see how shocking that goes. I'm sure I'll be cheering on Jaguars, that's my favorite racing team. I'm sure my sister's cat Meatball is hyped up as one cat to another, as well as other furry kitties all over the world would cheer on Jaguar. So let's see what my sister's cat Meatball has to say about Jaguar starting to race again. I see you don't have much comment, huh, Meatball? Oh well, whoever wins in Mexico will be so excited, he'll be happy to talk about it to all of his fans. Well, anyway, this concludes my video of the 2023 F1 driver lineup. My next video will speak of the 2023 IndyCar season, so stay tuned for that. That said, thanks for watching, everyone. Please share, like, and subscribe, and even comment on my videos, and be sure to click the notification bell below to be notified for my next post. As I said, IndyCar season and Formula One season is going to start in March. And March 5th is when it begins for Bahrain. When will IndyCar start in St. Pete? I'll get to you on that in the next video. See you later, everyone. I'm Aaron Cylinder, firing on all cylinders.
I hate that!